All right, so today we're diving into, those beautiful spaces, those like dreamy spaces,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Designed to bring the sunshine right into your home.
Right. Yeah.
Solariums and sunrooms.
Mm.
Maybe you're thinking of adding one to your house? Or
Yeah.
maybe you're just curious, what's the difference between the two?
Yeah. I think.
Either way, we've got some great info from Green Exterior Remodeling.
Okay.
They're contractors who specialize in these kinds of projects.
Cool.
So let's just jump right in.
Okay.
What's the difference between a solarium and a sunroom?
Well, it's fascinating because they both have that bring the outdoors in vibe,
Yeah.
but they go about it in quite
Right.
different ways.
Okay, so break it down for me.
Okay.
First, let's picture a solarium.
All right.
What is that?
Yeah.
I'm picturing like a luxurious glass box,
Yeah.
flooded with sunlight from every angle,
Mm-hmm.
walls and ceiling,
Yeah.
often framed with sleek metal,
Yeah.
very modern, elegant.
Yeah. And that's the key difference, right? A solarium is all about maximizing sunlight,
Yeah.
creating almost a greenhouse-like environment.
Okay.
So it's ideal for plant lovers or anyone who just wants to feel like they're constantly basking in the sun, even in the middle of winter.
Ah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Now, imagine a sunroom.
Okay.
What are we picturing there?
Yeah.
More like a traditional room, but with lots of windows to let in natural light.
Mm-hmm.
But it still has a solid roof overhead.
Exactly. Yeah. A sunroom is more about extending your living space,
Okay.
offering a comfortable area to enjoy the natural light, but without being directly exposed to the elements.
Right.
So it's a bit more versatile. It could be a living room, a dining area, even a home office.
I think I'm starting to see the appeal of both.
Yeah.
But I bet cost is a big factor here.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk numbers.
Okay.
I'm bracing myself.
Yeah.
How much do these sun-soaked havens usually cost?
So, let's start with solariums. Because of all that glass and the specialized construction involved, they are a significant investment.
Okay.
You're looking at anywhere from $300 to $850 per square foot for labor alone.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
So a solarium is definitely a luxury item.
Yeah.
But for those who want that wow factor, what kind of total price tag are we talking?
You could be looking at around $30,000 to $75,000 for a fully enclosed glass ceiling solarium.
Okay.
There are, however, more affordable options like atrium-style solariums, which start around $10,000.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So a solarium might not be totally out of reach for some folks.
Right.
But what about sunrooms?
Yeah.
Are they a bit easier on the wallet?
They definitely can be.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're looking for something to enjoy mostly in the warmer months, a 3-season sunroom is a great option.
Right.
These range from $10,000 to $40,000.
Oh.
If you want year-round comfort, though,
Yeah.
a 4-season sunroom with insulation, heating, and cooling will cost more, somewhere between $25,000 and $80,000.
So there's a pretty wide range there depending on the type of sunroom and how much you want to use it.
Right.
But what's behind this price difference?
Yeah.
Why are solariums so much pricier?
Yeah, it really boils down to materials and construction,
Right.
All that glass in a solarium
Yeah.
requires specialized framing and installation, which drives up the cost.
Right.
Plus, you have to factor in things like potential heating and cooling needs with all that glass.
Of course. Yeah.
Sunrooms, especially the 3-season varieties, tend to be more straightforward to build.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got a sense of the cost.
Okay.
But aside from the price, what are some other key differences we should know about?
Sure.
For example, if we're thinking about materials,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like glass is king for solariums.
Yeah.
But what about sunrooms?
You're right. Solariums are all about maximizing that glass-on-glass experience to soak up every bit of sunlight.
Right.
Sunrooms, on the other hand, usually have traditional walls with large windows
Okay.
and a solid roof.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about temperature control?
Okay.
I'm imagining all that glass in a solarium could make things a bit toasty in the summer.
That's a really important consideration.
Yeah.
Solariums can indeed get quite hot in direct sunlight,
Right.
and they can also lose heat quickly in colder weather.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So that's why it's crucial to factor in things like ventilation,
Right.
shading,
Uh-huh.
and potentially additional heating and cooling systems.
So it's not just like a
Well,
set it and forget it type of situation.
not
To
necessarily.
really think about that.
Yeah, and you really have to plan for those things.
Good point. Comfort is key.
Right.
So let's move on to aesthetics.
Okay.
It seems like solariums have that sleek, modern vibe,
Mm-hmm.
while sunrooms lean more traditional.
Yeah, I completely agree.
What do you think?
A solarium often screams contemporary elegance with its clean lines
Right.
and minimalist structure. It can be a stunning architectural addition to a modern home if you're going for a more traditional or cozy feel
Right.
that blends seamlessly with your existing home.
Yeah.
A sunroom might be a better fit.
This is all super helpful.
Yeah.
But what about privacy?
Okay.
If you're surrounded by glass,
Oh.
wouldn't you feel like you're living in a fishbowl?
Privacy is definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
Solariums with their expansive glass walls
Right.
offer less privacy than sunrooms.
Yeah.
You might need to consider things like curtains, blinds,
Right.
or landscaping to create a sense of seclusion.
Right. Like you don't want your neighbors
Exactly.
staring at you all the time.
Yeah, you want to feel like you have a little bit of privacy.
Yeah.
Sunrooms with their solid walls
Right.
provide more privacy from the start,
Okay.
and you have more options for customization.
All right. So we've got a good grasp of the key differences.
Mhm.
Materials, temperature control, aesthetics, and privacy.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to delve a bit deeper into the pros and cons of each option
Sure.
to help our listener really weigh their choices.
Absolutely.
It's important to consider all the angles before making such a significant investment.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so to recap, solariums offer incredible natural light,
Right.
panoramic views, and a definite wow factor.
Mm-hmm.
But they also come with a higher price tag,
Yeah.
potential challenges with temperature control,
Right.
and less privacy.
On the other hand, sunrooms are generally more budget-friendly, offer greater flexibility in design and use, and are easier to heat and cool.
But they might not have that same dramatic architectural impact as a solarium,
Yeah.
and you'll get less direct sunlight.
Uh-huh.
It's all about trade-offs.
Precisely.
There's no one-size-fits-all answer here.
Right.
It all depends on your individual needs,
Uh-huh.
your budget,
Yeah.
and what you prioritize most.
Exactly.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So how can our listeners start to figure out which option is the right fit for them?
Well,
What are some key questions they should ask themselves?
first and foremost, they need to consider their budget.
Right.
How much are they realistically willing to spend on this project?
Okay.
If they're working with a tighter budget, a 3-season sunroom might be a more practical choice.
Right.
If they have more room to splurge and dream big,
Yeah,
a solarium could be the perfect fit.
that makes sense.
Yes.
What else should they think about?
Well, they need to consider how they plan to use the space.
Right.
Do they want a dedicated space for plants to thrive?
Okay.
Are they looking for a cozy spot to just relax and enjoy the view? Do they need a functional space that can be used year-round, like a home office or a playroom?
Yeah.
You know, the intended use will greatly influence the choice between a solarium and a sunroom.
That's so helpful.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked a lot about solariums and sunrooms in general,
Right.
but let's circle back to green exterior remodeling. Can you tell us a bit more about them and why you recommend them?
Absolutely. Green Exterior Remodeling is based in Charlotte, North Carolina,
Okay.
and they specialize in custom installations of both solariums and sunrooms.
Okay.
What I find impressive about them is their focus on understanding the client's vision
Right.
and translating that into a well-designed and functional space.
That sounds great. So they're not just slapping up
No.
prefabricated structures.
Yeah,
They're really working with the client
exactly.
to create something
Yeah.
unique and beautiful.
Yeah, it's a more personalized approach, which is great.
Exactly. And that's so important with projects like these.
Yeah.
A solarium or sunroom is a significant investment.
Uh-huh.
So you want to make sure you're working with a company that has the expertise,
Mm-hmm.
the craftsmanship,
Yeah.
and the commitment to create something that you'll love for years to come.
That's a good point.
Well said. And I know that choosing a contractor can be a daunting task,
Yeah.
especially for a project of this scale. What are some key things our listeners should look for when selecting a contractor
Okay.
for their solarium or sunroom project?
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's something we should definitely explore further.
Okay.
But I think that's a perfect place to pause for now.
I agree.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive,
We have.
from defining solariums and sunrooms to exploring their costs
Uh-huh.
and even touching on the importance of finding the right contractor.
Yeah, it's been a great start.
It has.
And I'm sure our listeners are eager to learn more about finding the perfect contractor for their sun-soaked dreams.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for part 2,
Yes.
where we'll dive even deeper into the world of contractor selection,
We will.
offering valuable tips and insights to help our listener make an informed decision.
Looking forward to it.
We'll be back soon.
All right.
See ya.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive into solariums and sunrooms.
We're picking up right where we left off, talking about how to find the perfect contractor for these amazing projects.
It's such a critical step in the process.
Absolutely. It can feel a little daunting, but finding the right contractor can make all the difference. So what are some key things our listeners should look for?
Well, first and foremost, experience is key. You want a contractor who has a proven track record of building high-quality solariums and sunrooms.
That makes perfect sense. You wouldn't want someone learning on the job with your dream sunroom, right?
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask for references and check out their portfolio, see examples of their work, and get a feel for their style and craftsmanship.
It's like checking out an artist's previous work before commissioning a painting.
Precisely now, once you've found a few contractors with solid experience, communication is the next big thing to consider. You want someone who is responsive, listens to your needs, and keeps you informed throughout the entire process.
Because let's face it, home renovations can be stressful. Having a contractor who communicates clearly and regularly can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. A good contractor will be transparent about costs, timelines, and any potential challenges that might arise. They'll also be open to your questions and concerns.
It's all about building trust and feeling comfortable with the people you're working with.
Exactly. And speaking of trust, another crucial factor is licensing and insurance. Make sure the contractor is properly licensed and insured to protect both you and them in case of any accidents or issues during the construction process.
That's a really important point. You want to make sure you're covered. If anything unexpected happens, it's about peace of mind.
Absolutely. And finally, don't underestimate the power of your gut feeling. If you get a bad vibe from a contractor or something feels off, it's probably best to move on.
It's like that saying, when in doubt, trust your gut.
Exactly. A good contractor will make you feel confident and excited about the project. They should be enthusiastic about your vision and genuinely invested in creating something special for you.
So true. Finding the right contractor is like finding the right partner for this creative journey. It's a collaboration.
I couldn't agree more. And speaking of finding the right partner, Green Exterior, remodeling the company we mentioned earlier, checks a lot of these boxes. They're known for their excellent communication, transparent pricing, and commitment to quality craftsmanship.
And they have that custom approach, working closely with clients to bring their visions to life.
Precisely so. If you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area and dreaming of adding a solarium or sunroom to your home, they're definitely worth checking out.
All right, so we've covered the importance of finding a contractor you trust and highlighted some key things to look for. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about something equally important, maximizing the use of your solarium or sunroom once it's built.
That's a great point. It's one thing to have this beautiful space, but it's another to really make it an integral part of your life and home.
Exactly. So what are some ways our listeners can think about incorporating their solariums or sunrooms into their daily routines and activities? How can they make these spaces truly their own?
Well, it all starts with understanding how you want to use the space. Do you envision it as a tranquil retreat for reading and relaxation? A vibrant hub for entertaining friends and family? A productive workspace bathed in natural light?
I love those ideas.
Ah.
It's all about tailoring the space to your specific needs and lifestyle.
Precisely. For example, if you're an avid gardener, a solarium could become your indoor jungle filled with lush plants thriving in all that sunlight.
I can practically smell the fresh herbs and see the colorful blooms already.
Or maybe you're a bookworm and dream of curling up with a good book in a cozy sunroom nook bathed in warm, natural light.
Yeah, that sounds heavenly. It's all about creating a sanctuary that reflects your passions and brings you joy.
Exactly. And don't forget about the practical aspects. Think about how you can optimize the space for comfort and functionality. Comfortable seating, adjustable lighting, and maybe even some climate control features can make a world of difference.
Those are great points. It's easy to get caught up in the aesthetics, but comfort and practicality are just as important.
Absolutely. And speaking of comfort, let's delve into some specific design considerations that can elevate the overall experience of your solarium or sunroom.
Sounds great. Let's talk design. Where should our listeners start? What are some key elements to consider?
One of the first things to think about is flooring. Choosing the right flooring is crucial, especially if you're planning to use the space year-round.
I can see why that's important. You want something durable and easy to maintain, right?
Exactly. You also want to consider the overall aesthetic you're going for. Do you want a sleek and modern look or something warmer and more traditional? This will influence your flooring choices.
What are some popular flooring options for solariums and sunrooms? Imagining tile might be a good choice.
You're right on track tile is an excellent option for both solariums and sunrooms because it's durable, easy to clean, and can withstand temperature fluctuations.
That makes sense, especially for solariums where all that glass can really heat things up.
Exactly. Porcelain and ceramic tiles are particularly good choices because they're resistant to fading and moisture. And if you're concerned about the tile feeling cold underfoot, you can always add area rugs for warmth and texture.
Those are great tips. What about hardwood flooring? Is that a good option for these spaces? I love the look of hardwood, but I wonder if it's practical in a sunroom or solarium.
Hardwood can be a bit trickier, especially in solariums where direct sunlight can cause fading and warping over time. If you have your heart set on hardwood, it's best to choose a species that's known for its durability and resistance to sunlight, like oak or maple.
And what about engineered hardwood? I've heard that's a more stable option.
You're absolutely right. Engineered hardwood is a great alternative to solid hardwood because it's more dimensionally stable and less likely to be affected by changes in temperature and humidity.
That sounds like a good compromise if you want the beauty of hardwood without the potential downsides.
Precisely. Now let's move on to another important element of design furniture. Choosing the right furniture can make or break the feel of your sunroom or solarium.
It's true, the right furniture can transform the space into a cozy haven or a stylish gathering spot.
Exactly. And there are a few key things to keep in mind when selecting furniture for these spaces. First and foremost, think about the scale of your space. You don't want to overcrowd it with bulky furniture.
You want to maintain that sense of airiness and openness that makes these spaces so appealing.
Absolutely. Choose pieces that are appropriately sized and don't block the flow of natural light. Also consider the materials. Opt for furniture that can withstand sunlight and moisture, especially if your space isn't fully enclosed.
So materials like wicker wrought iron and aluminum are good choices.
Those are excellent options. They're durable, stylish, and can handle the elements. And for cushions and upholstery, choose fabrics that are fade-resistant and easy to clean.
Great tips. Now, we've talked a lot about natural light, but what about artificial lighting? Is that something our listeners should consider when designing their solariums or sunrooms?
Absolutely. Artificial lighting is crucial for creating the right ambiance in the evening and ensuring your space is functional even after the sun goes down.
It's all about extending the enjoyment of the space beyond daylight hours.
Exactly. And there are so many great lighting options to choose from. Recessed lighting is a popular choice for solariums and sunrooms because it's subtle and doesn't take up visual space.
It's a great way to provide overall illumination without detracting from the architectural features.
Precisely. And you can always layer in accent lighting like table lamps or floor lamps to create a warmer, more inviting atmosphere in the evenings.
And if you plan to use the space for reading or working task lighting is essential.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to something that's always fun to talk about, decor. How can we add personality and style to our solariums and sunrooms and make them feel truly our own?
I love this part. It's where we get to unleash our creativity and infuse the space with our personal style.
Exactly. The key here is to think about the overall mood and vibe you want to create. Are you going for a tropical oasis, a rustic retreat, a modern sanctuary?
I'm picturing a tropical oasis right now.
Yeah.
Lush plants, vibrant colors, rattan furniture, maybe a hammock for ultimate relaxation.
I love it. And if you're drawn to a more rustic aesthetic, you might incorporate natural wood elements, earthy tones, and cozy textiles.
And don't forget about the power of accessories. Throw pillows, blankets, artwork, and decorative objects can add pops of color, texture, and personality.
Absolutely. It's all about those finishing touches that make a space feel truly lived in and loved.
And one thing I always like to emphasize is the importance of considering the view. If you have a stunning outdoor vista, you might want to keep the decor minimal to avoid distracting from the natural beauty.
That's a great point. You don't want to compete with Mother Nature.
Exactly. It's all about finding that perfect balance between the indoors and the outdoors.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on something that's increasingly important in all aspects of home design sustainability.
Sustainability is such a crucial consideration these days. How can our listeners incorporate eco-friendly practices into their solarium or sunroom projects?
Well, for starters, choosing energy-efficient windows and doors is a must. This will help minimize heat loss in the winter and heat gain in the summer, reducing your reliance on heating and cooling systems.
That makes perfect sense.
Hmm.
It's all about maximizing natural light and warmth while minimizing energy consumption.
Exactly. And there are other things you can do as well. Consider using sustainable materials like bamboo flooring or reclaimed wood furniture. And don't forget about landscaping. Planting trees or shrubs around your solarium or sunroom can provide natural shade and reduce the need for artificial cooling.
Those are fantastic tips. It's amazing how these small choices can make a big difference for the environment.
Absolutely. And it all adds up to create a space that's not only beautiful and functional, and also responsible and sustainable.
Well said. I'm feeling so inspired to create my own eco-friendly, sun-drenched oasis. But I think it's time for us to take a short break and let our listener absorb all this amazing information.
I agree. We've covered a lot of ground in this second part of our deep dive, from finding the right contractor to maximizing the use of your space and incorporating sustainable practices. We've explored a wide range of topics to help our listener create their dream solarium or sunroom.
We'll be back soon for the final part of our deep dive, so stay tuned for even more inspiring ideas and practical tips. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the world of solariums and sunrooms.
We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From defining these sun-soaked spaces to exploring their pros and cons costs, and even how to choose the right contractor.
And of course, we've talked about making those spaces both functional and beautiful once they're built.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. But before we wrap things up, I wanted to touch on one more aspect that I think is particularly interesting, the psychological benefits of these light-filled spaces.
Oh, it's such a fascinating area to explore. We often focus on the practical and aesthetic aspects,
Right.
but the psychological impact of these spaces can be quite profound.
Exactly. So what can you tell us about how solariums and sunrooms can affect our mood, our well-being, our overall sense of self?
Well, one of the most significant benefits is the increased exposure to natural light sunlight helps regulate our circadian rhythms,
Right.
which govern our sleep-wake cycles, hormone production, and even our mood.
So having a space where we can soak up natural light even on cloudy days can actually have a positive impact on our mental and physical health.
Precisely. Studies have shown that exposure to natural light can boost serotonin levels, which are associated with feelings of happiness and well-being. It can also help reduce symptoms of seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, which is a type of depression that's linked to changes in the amount of daylight we get.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like having a built-in mood booster right in your own home.
It really is, and beyond the physiological benefits, there's also something to be said for the psychological impact of being surrounded by nature, even if it's just a glimpse of the outdoors through a window.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. There's a sense of calm and tranquility that washes over me when I'm in a space that's filled with natural light and has views of trees, flowers, or even just the sky.
Exactly. It's like bringing a bit of the outdoors in which can have a grounding and restorative effect. It can help reduce stress, improve focus, and even boost creativity.
I'm starting to think everyone needs a solarium or sunroom in their life.
I wouldn't disagree. It's an investment in your well-being, in your connection to nature, and in creating a space that truly nourishes your soul.
Beautifully said. Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about solariums and sunrooms, from the practical considerations of cost and construction to the design elements that bring these spaces to life, and even the profound impact they can have on our well-being.
It's been a comprehensive deep dive.
It really has.
Yeah.
And I hope our listener feels empowered to create their own sun-soaked haven. Whether it's a stunning solarium or a cozy sunroom, a space that reflects their personality, enhances their life, and brings them joy for years to come.
And don't forget, if you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, Green Exterior Remodeling is a great resource for bringing those dreams to life.
Absolutely. They have the expertise, the craftsmanship, and the passion to create something truly special.
So go ahead and embrace the sunlight. Let it flood your home and your heart, and create a space where you can thrive.
That's a beautiful sentiment to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this enlightening journey into the world of solariums and sunrooms.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you and our listeners.
Until next time, keep those dreams of bright, airy spaces alive.